Hey everyone, it's Barbara Ann. Welcome back to my channel, Straight Out of Context. Copyright disclaimer. Under the Copyright Act of 1976, I am within my full legal right to share these following clips via video and audio. The following creators allow reshare, redistribution, and download of their content, and as always, I credit in the description box down below. Fair use, public domain, TikTok third-party license, and TikTok live automatic third-party license for the use of commentary, reaction, teaching, news reporting, research, comment, and criticism. I am legally within my basic human, civil, and constitutional right to share under the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. To share my expressions, views, thoughts, opinions, feelings, and critiques. The First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution guarantees my freedom of religion, freedom to exercise of, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, free assembly, and the right to petition the government and air my grievances. The First Amendment does not cover lies, lies that amount to defamation, slander, libel, harassment, stalking, cyberstalking, bullying, cyberbullying, threats, or any other verbal crimes.
It's 1/12/2019. My love, as I write this, I'm in bed looking out the window at the 10 plus inches of snow falling from the winter storm, blank, and I have only one thing on my mind, you. After you told me why you got in your head and turned into a gremlin, I can't even be mad at you because it's why you got that way and not how you were acting, but the why that makes me sweet on you. I'm like, oh, he got territorial. He loves me. Smiley face. I love you. XOXOXOXO. Honey, I need you to remember that I will never keep a score of the wrongs. We both do and say things that we didn't completely think before it was said or done, but most likely it was purely because we love each other too much and our moods can be affected at a moment's notice in a positive or negative way. And you and I are so much alike. I get protective and possessive of you as well. Remember when you told me you met Kylie Jenner? I was about to fuck up a Kardashian for real. LOL. I totally believed you. There has been times I turned into Mrs. Gremlin.
Oh my God.
In seriousness, I'm so into you and wrapped up in my feelings for you that no one, male or female, reference to my misunderstanding, LOL, is even a blip on my radar, as I am in love with only one person because this one person I have spent hours that could total up to months talking to, visits that I have such fond memories of, kisses that were so pleasurable they made me moan, such powerful emotions that overwhelm me with happiness just having you in my life, and the soul-crushing sadness when we feel hurt. The hopes and dreams we share, and the way you can read my mind is all signs that we were so perfectly matched. I wouldn't give that up for anything. And with that being said, I will give you a Bible verse that I truly believe in, and this comes from a life recovery Bible. So for both of us, it has more meaning. You and I are both at one time or another have been addicts trying to numb our pain, and our pain and love can often be the cause and the cure. And here's the Bible verse. Oh, yeah, okay. We may have given up on love. Perhaps we waited for love only to be disappointed. Maybe our loved ones hurt us so badly that we need to numb ourselves from the pain. In the past, our addiction helped us to numb. Our addiction. No, it says addition.
Yeah, but she meant addiction.
Oh, addiction, my bad. Helped us to keep us numb. But now we are recovered and we must deal with the trials and joys of love with a sober mind and heart. 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not want what belongs to others. It does not brag. It is not proud. It is not rude. It does not look out for its own interests. It does not become easily angry. It does not keep track of the wrongs of others. Love is not happy with evil, but is full of joy when truth is spoken. It always protects. It always trusts. It always hopes. And it never gives up. The three most important things to have is faith, hope, and love.
I had a very loyal follower and subscriber who has been with me for the last 2 years covering the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case point this out to me. So of course I am on it like a bonnet. Gypsy Rose Blanchard in the last 24 hours completely revamped her Instagram. Notice author, cyberbullying advocate are all gone. This girl actually classifies herself as a public figure and not the infamous murderer that she truly is. She has a generic email and links for her reality show, which is already done. She doesn't even have the link to the linked tree everywhere, where she calls herself an advocate still. But that's a huge discrepancy, only 933K compared to the 9.5 million over on TikTok. Last year in 2024, when somebody that is very tech savvy ran all of her following lists over on TikTok, they found that over 46% of Gypsy's 9.5 million are inactive, unreal, or bot accounts. And that is why we see such a huge discrepancy. On TikTok, she only has 60 subscribers, but she's making just under $300 a month from those subscriptions at $4.49 a month. And she also does not adhere to every single perk that all 60 of those people are supposed to receive being subscribers. That is also why we see a big discrepancy every time she goes live on TikTok there's not very many people in there. For having 9.5 million, you would see probably around 900,000 people, if not more, join her lives or engage with her. But that's not what we're seeing. Maybe a couple hundred at best, and it's the same people over and over. A lot of fake, non-real, non-active accounts. But the best part of all of this is she did this all for one reason and one reason only. That's because real public figures and real celebrities who have a real talent and are beloved for that talent, they treat Instagram very differently than they do other social medias. And so does Gypsy. She weaponizes and uses TikTok to her advantage to harm, dox, and cause distress and emotional damages to other people. When, ironically, it is convenient for her to do so, or to have somebody do it for her by proxy. Because if you haven't learned anything in the last year and a half, that's her MO. But I noticed something, and she thinks that she can fool everybody, but it's not going to work this time. Her very new post is a repost from a post last year of when she was on Kim Kardashian's The Kardashians HULU TV show. As you know, they had the show Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Over 9 years, they did 20 seasons, and then they went from the E! Network over to HULU, where they continued on with a show called The Kardashians. The real reason why Gypsy reposted this post and is tagging Kim Kardashian and definitely kissing her ass in the caption, and all of a sudden she's now advocating for Amelia Bird again, saying that she's going to hold Kim Kardashian to her word and her promise to help look into Amelia Bird's case and cause. She knows that Kim Kardashian is very, very passionate about prison reform, but Gypsy Rose Blanchard got the best of prison reform. That's why we haven't seen her ever advocate. But where everything comes full circle, so does Gypsy Rose Blanchard herself. She is now trying to rebrand herself as a prison reform princess. But here is why she specifically reposted this with the tag of Kim Kardashian and trying to essentially placate Kim Kardashian. Like Kim Kardashian got where she's at today because she's ignorant. Girl, please. I bet you Kim Kardashian and her team already have the entire FOIA case of Gypsy Rose and Amelia Bird. That is why last year Kim Kardashian unliked 2 of the posts of Gypsies that she liked and stopped following her. But she did this because her prison emails have been obtained by Into the Weeds podcast and are being read by them and 1980s millennial commentates. And everything that we believe to be true this entire time, wow, plus more. But one email in specifically, she's talking to Ken and she threatens to fuck up a Kardashian. Well, Gypsy Rose Blanchard kind of fucked herself on that one, didn't she? There ain't no ass kissery that she can do that can pull her from this. Take a listen to everyone clocking her shit, and you know Kim Kardashian's gonna hear it and see it all.
Y'all, I got the email. So many of y'all have said, this isn't true. Well, here you go. Remember whenever I said that Gypsy Rose said she wanted to fuck up a Kardashian? In this email, she's complaining what a gremlin she is. But if you look right here, it says, I got protective and possessive of you as well. Remember when you told me you met Kylie Jenner? I was about to fuck up a Kardashian for real. LOL. I totally believed you. There's a time that I turned into Miss Gremlin. That's something I haven't told you about. One of her nicknames was Gremlin. And oddly enough, in this same email, she quotes a Bible verse, 1 Corinthians 13, which if you know anything about Bible verses, it's like one of the most popular, or at least top 10. Gypsy, I guess you're one of the few people that envy does look good on because you look pretty happy here. Miss Kimmy, on the other hand, looks like she is just over it and that she has already read you for what you are, lying filth.
How did you feel when you met Kim K?
I was very nervous. They didn't show it on our show, but when I went to meet Kim,
That's a big one.
Oh, thank you. Did you see who it was from?
Nope.
No, dang it. Sorry. The night that I went to meet Kim, we were also simultaneously filming for our show as well. So our show had captured like my reaction to meeting Kim, like the fallout afterwards. He drooled on me. Wow, his saliva like projected on me. But Lifetime chose not to put that in there because there was. Lifetime could not put everything that we filmed in the show. So the amount of content that Lifetime obtained was so much. I mean, we were filming for what, 4 or 5 months? 4 months?
I think so.
And so they captured a lot, but I think they captured a lot to find a story arc. And so I think the story arc started off capturing my life and my everyday life, and then the story arc eventually became you.
Well, it's coming to an end now.
So, and you know, I give Lifetime mad props for sticking through my journey with me and taking my life story and putting it out there and really getting a lot of awareness about just, I guess, in a bigger hindsight, like in a bigger scope, not only what trauma survivors have to go through, but also parolees. Parolees don't have it easy. And especially since my life is so high profile, it is 10, 20 times harder to be a parolee. And so talking about how it's hard to get jobs, when haters online want to falsely report me for when I'm doing nothing wrong, but just because they simply don't like me, I get reported to my PO. And of course my PO knows, because if I get a false report put on me, he talks to me, and he has to check in with me and says, we got a report today. So there were times in the past that I'm like, yeah, I did this, or no, it's completely false. And we talk about it. He sends a report back to Missouri, and then that's how my parole works. So, you know, it's a struggle. And like it showed on the show, it's like my parole officer, he gets a lot of calls, and I'm still free because all of the reports have been either false or I have been given a warning about, pretty much. So, I mean, it just makes it so hard on parole. But
just 1 year left.
Yeah, 1 year left, and then it's fine. But this is what upsets me so much is when I got to prison, I asked them if I could get therapy. I received a notice that I didn't qualify for one-on-one therapy.
Wow. You would think that they would want to set you up and give you all of the tools that you would need to be as mentally stable and to be as healed as possible to come home into society.
Donald Trump's very, very unorthodox in the way that he does things. Are you open to meeting with him to discuss prison reform, especially for people who have been in your kind of situation? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, of course I would be open to it.
Would you'd sit with him?
Of course I would.
Oh, great.
I think I would have a lot to talk to him about.
What would you say to him? Like, what would be your main point, you know, to drive home?
And we're the first ones to get
my main thing would be that there needs to be better advocacy for mental health problems while in prisons. I feel like too often the state just kind of chucks them in prison and doesn't take any...
Was there access for you, though, for mental health, like to tap for your mental health?
The access for me was they rated me on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the best, and they told me that I didn't qualify for one-on-one therapy.
No, in prison, really?
Despite my past trauma. So I think there actually needs to be more trauma therapy, more therapy for individuals, instead of just chucking them in a prison and forgetting about them. They could be reformed, they could be rehabilitated if just given the chance.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful honor to get to meet Kim and sit down and talk about prison reform. I know that prison reform is something that's really close to her heart. And for me, I've been on that end of the fence. So I know what that's like. And so I have a lot of opinions on what I think could be beneficial to change in the justice system going forward. So it was really good to meet up with her and kind of open up about that.
Did she help maybe navigate how to deal with haters?
Yes, I think if anyone had any advice, it probably Kim.
I don't think Gypsy Rose Blanchard was anticipating people being able to read her emails, especially not between her dad and her, where she calls her dad pimp juice and he admits to cheating on Christy and like all the crap that he talks about Christy, but like she called him pimp juice. Like, that is so freaking weird, but what gets me even more is the emails of her, like, dominating someone financially, and, like, her saying, like, can you just send me $50 on the reg because, like, I'm too prideful of a person to ask, but, like, calling them servants and, like, she's the goddess and stuff. Girl, what? I guess when you're in prison, you kind of just do what you gotta do. I don't know what I would do in prison, I have no idea. So. But pimp juice? Girl.
Gypsy Rose's little pen pal, the one that was calling her goddess and she was saying was her little obedient servant, cut Gypsy off. Gypsy was talking to this person literally months before she was getting out. Talked to them for a good little bit. Had them sending her like a weekly allowance and shit. As you can see, calling her goddess. You see right here, she tells Gypsy, thank you for referring to me as your loyal servant. A month later, Gypsy Rose sends her little servant an email, basically saying she wants to know why are you sending me money so freely? What are your expectations of me? She says she told her husband of this person's kindness and he questions their motives. From my understanding, Gypsy Rose has come out and said that Ryan knew all about her emailing these people and getting paid for it. However, he has been in the comments saying, yeah, I knew she was writing people, but I had no idea she was getting paid for this. I wonder if she was trying to see if this person was like trying to, get with her, or if she could get out of prison, claim this person was her friend, and her continue getting money from the person. That's what I think. Gypsy's loyal servant emails her back. Tells her, I was just trying to be freaking nice to you. I can see you and your husband got a lot of suspicions going on. And then the person says, I will not be emailing you anymore. Gypsy says, I'm not trying to be rude for asking. My husband just didn't want me giving anyone the wrong impression. Not Gypsy, but her husband. Gypsy didn't give a shit what impression she got. Give me that money, honey. Gypsy says, thank you for your kindness. This is on 9/11. On 9/12, when she hasn't heard back from her loyal servant, she comes out with her Dom character. Do not walk away from your goddess. I want my weekly 50. I am still your goddess. It would please me very much. Send the money. The switch up's crazy, right? Thank you for your kindness. My husband just didn't want me to mislead anyone. Boom, send me my 50. I'm your goddess. Took off one mask of Gypsy Rose and put on another for that money, honey. If you are one of the people who still believe that Nick Godejohn somehow forced Gypsy Rose into this, friend, you are being willfully ignorant. Gypsy enjoys role-playing. That's what it is. Hey, this is all alleged. Well, no, it's not. Those are Gypsy Rose's emails. She said that shit. Some of it is for entertainment purposes only, my opinion. But I got that shit from Gypsy Rose.
Gypsy Rose seriously thinks we're stupid, y'all. Come on now, go to her Instagram. On her Instagram, she's pinned a post that she made back in the summer of 2024 when she got to meet with Kim Kardashian. And she wanted us to know that she was so excited to work with Kim for prison reform. This was back in 2024, last year. We all know now Kim K wants nothing to do with Gypsy or any of the prison reform files that she wants her to work on because they're guilty as sin. But she's pinned that post to the top of her page on Instagram and turned off comments because she doesn't want anybody commenting and letting those who don't actually look further than just the picture. She doesn't want us to let them know, hey, yo, that was a year ago and Kim K wants nothing to do with Gypsy. Tori Spelling, Kim K, she's trying her hardest to put herself out there to make herself relevant in the advocacy work by tying herself to big celebrities. Now, and I don't even think we can call Tori Spelling a big celebrity anymore. I forgot who she was for the longest time. But anywho, Kim Kardashian won't touch Gypsy Rose. She won't touch Amelia Bird. why they are guilty. Think about it. Guilty Rose. Kind of accurate. Gypsy Rose took a plea deal. Why? Her own lawyer said that the Munchausens by proxy was just a theory and a defense. He didn't think he could get her off on that. Amelia Bird took a plea deal. Yeah, they said, oh, well, she was trying to avoid the death penalty. But if they really didn't have any evidence against her, if it really was a false arrest, why would her lawyers let her take a plea deal? Why not go in front of a jury of her peers if they really thought the prosecution had nothing? Anyways, Guilty Rose, Gypsy Rose, whatever you want to call her, is trying desperately to let us think that she's involved with Kim Kardashian. And she's not. Just go check it. Look at the date. Kim who? Kim Kardashian. Gypsy who? Exactly. Nobody. Guilty Rose Blanchard wants us to think she's a Kardashian. We all know better than that.
And, you know, Amelia and I, we did 2 years in prison together, like my last 2 years in prison together. So, and she was once my roommate too. And we had extensive conversations about her case and her life. And, you know, she had a rough childhood too. Her mom and her dad grew up on, you know, had her grow up on this farm. And they were from a rural town in Missouri. And Amelia got into the wrong crowd, and she was dating the wrong boyfriend. And she was about to break up with the boyfriend, and then the boyfriend broke into Amelia and her parents' home and, you know, unalived her mom and her dad. Her mom was shot, her dad was shot. Her mom passed away, and her dad survived, but he was really, like, badly injured. And she was arrested Amelia was arrested along with her boyfriend. So as they're awaiting trial, the prosecution approaches her boyfriend for a deal. So if he testified against Amelia and said that she asked him to do it, then he would have a lesser sentence. He would be spared the death penalty. And then the prosecution went to her and was like, we're gonna seek the death penalty on you if you don't agree to this plea bargain. And Amelia Bird, B-I-R-D. Just like a bird. And so she took a plea deal to avoid the death penalty to 2 life sentences ran consecutive. So what consecutive means is on top of each other. So life is calculated at 30 years. And so if you total that up, that's 60 years. And there wasn't any evidence against Amelia Bird except for the boyfriend's testimony against her. And so I explained all of this to Kim, and because Kim works a lot with the Innocence Project and other organizations that help look into people that have been convicted of crimes and they, you know, might be innocent, she helps with that kind of stuff. And so that was kind of like my last hope, to get help from my friend. So, I mean, I'm hoping that behind the scenes, Kim does, you know, stick to her word and, you know, work on Amelia's case.
Let me tell y'all something about Gypsy. I will tell y'all this before I leave. Gypsy turns on that voice when she's wanting something bad. That voice does come on. She lays it on thick, which I always thought was so cute. Like, you know, when she wanted something, she would throw that voice on. And her voice stayed the same. I mean, it's nothing that was different, but it's like when she wanted something more, she'd hit that voice and knew that it got me. You know, she knew what she was doing. Guys, I know y'all don't, I know y'all like it's baby talk or anything, but she didn't like baby talk with it. It would just, I don't know, like, guys, she knew I love her voice. She knew I loved her voice. So, guys, y'all can call me weird for that. I thought it was unique. Like, I will tell y'all this, for a person to grab my heart, they have to be really unique, really different. And That's one thing about Gypsy that I always loved. I always felt like she was one of a kind. Like, you gotta imagine her story and us, it was one of a kind. So, guys, I'm not gonna bash Gypsy. I still have love for Gypsy, always will.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard posted this to her Instagram stories yesterday, trying to prove that Kim Kardashian liked 2 of her posts. Well, I hate to break it to you, Gypsy, but Kim has apparently unliked your posts and also doesn't follow you on Instagram. Now, Gypsy made this post because she said in this video yesterday,
"Screams Kim Kardashian. I'm no Kim K, but I think she'd be proud of this look."
To which someone comments, "It's not expensive enough to be Kim K." Gypsy replies, "LOL, she does actually like my stuff from time to time. Remember, I was on the Kardashians, wink face." And Gypsy posted this to her Instagram stories. So I went to Gypsy's Instagram to check this. So we're gonna go to Gypsy's Instagram. Here's her post. And then we're going to go to these posts that Gypsy
Put me
says
on the
Kim
list,
liked.
and
this
I
is
won't
the first
pass a
one.
background
She
check.
tagged Kim. So we're going to go to Kim's profile. And let's just see if Kim's following Gypsy. So I'm going to type in her name. Nope, sure isn't. Not surprising. But let's go to these posts again to see if Kim liked them. So the first one was a photo of Kim and Gypsy. If you go to who all liked it and type in Kim, it's not there. Kim Kardashian either liked and unliked or something. I don't know. Now we're going to go to the video she posted, the reel. Okay? If you go to the likes and you search in the likes, Kim K, she doesn't show. Now here's what I think happened. I think that this screenshot of Gypsy's is really old, in that Kim liked these posts when Gypsy first made them and then either went back and unliked them, or she was following her and unfollowed her. I'm not 100% sure, but it doesn't show Kim's name when you go to who liked those posts.
I went to New Orleans and met with Gypsy Rose. How was that? Amazing.
Well, here Kim is lying.
She talked to me about like how the system works, and even someone with like such a severe case as hers, like they told her that she wasn't messed up enough to need therapy, and I just thought that was
also
so
is a
crazy,
proven lie.
really strong.
Let's see.
She was like an open book. I feel bad.
Yeah, she doesn't feel bad for Gypsy Rose. And no, being an open book is absolutely not her MO. Lying is, covering her tracks is.
Yeah, I think it would be really amazing to be able to bring our cameras
Kim
in.
only capitalized off of the Gypsy Rose Blanchard story. She got out of prison and had 10.3 million followers after about 7 months.
People are mad about this. Do you think Gypsy Rose lied? So take a listen to this, but first off, make sure you hit the little heart button over there.
Proof of Gypsy's lies. So when Gypsy went on the Kardashian show, she told Kim that she couldn't get therapy in prison because she didn't qualify, and that has been proven to be false. She could have easily requested therapy at any point, and her friend, who she's recently had a falling out with, is saying that Gypsy told her she didn't need any help. And the reason that this friend
She didn't need any help.
spilling all the tea on Gypsy right now is because Gypsy told her friend in prison that she was going to talk to Kim Kardashian about her and try to get her help because she has 2 life sentences. But instead, Gypsy only talked about herself the entire time she spoke to Kim. She talked about haters online, social media, and really acted like the typical narcissistic, self-absorbed person that she is.
Oh, hell.
When her friend's girlfriend tried to reach out to her and ask her, hey, why didn't you mention her on the show and try to get her help? She blocked this person, and she told all of her friends that the reason that she was going on the show was because she truly wanted to help her friend, because she didn't want people to think she was clout chasing. But when she went on the show, she showed her true colors. And anybody who was truly trying to get their friend help, when asked about why it wasn't mentioned on the show, don't you think they would have been honest and said what happened instead of blocking them? If she
That is crazy as hell.
mentioned this to Kim and it just didn't get aired, which is what she's claiming to her friend, if this really happened, why would you block the person when they ask you about it? Wouldn't you be honest? This former friend of Gypsy's is also now saying that Gypsy has stolen parts of her story. This person is saying that while they were in prison, she told Gypsy about her grandfather doing things to her And she said Gypsy never mentioned any of this until after she had told Gypsy about it, and then it came out in documentaries, and that's when Gypsy started talking about it and claiming that that was part of her story. It's also really interesting that Gypsy has said that her mother used to hit her with wire hangers, because Gypsy likes to take bits and pieces from movies and other people's stories and use them. She clearly saw that in Mommy Dearest. Why do you think Gypsy would be taking parts of other people's stories and making them her own? Because she wants to look more like a victim, because this was never truly a case of self-defense. That was a theory created by her legal team. The truth is, it was medical fraud. But Gypsy is putting on a show for all of you because she profits off of your sympathy.
Oh, hell. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. Make sure you leave a like. Follow for more. See y'all in the next one.
So now you know why she completely revamped her entire Instagram, scrubbed it, and then reposted this post of Kim Kardashian, which she already unfollowed you and unliked the 2 posts that she liked last year. Kim Kardashian is not stupid enough to look into or help anybody's case or cause, especially when they are guilty. That's not what she does with prison reform. She mostly advocates for people that shouldn't get sentences for the crimes that they did, and murderers deserve to be in prison for life. Murder is not self-defense. It's not war. It's not an accident. And that is not what Gypsy did. But let's switch gears for a minute. The reason why Kim Kardashian won't keep her promise and her word to Gypsy Rose is because Amelia Bird, charged in her mother's murder, went to trial in February of 2009. Even though Gypsy wants you to believe that there was no other testimony against her except for her boyfriend's, that's actually not true. She had over 50 witnesses, many of which testified to the fact that Amelia talked about her parents being strict and wishing that they would just die or were dead many times. A Somersville girl charged in a conspiracy to murder her mother will stand trial in February of 2009, according to court records. Amelia Bird was 16 when she committed her crime. However, she was 18 at the time of this article. It says Amelia Bird, 18, was to have stood trial beginning March 10 of 2008. However, the case has been delayed by nearly a year after her defense asked for a continuance, February of 2009. She is charged with first-degree murder of her mother and first-degree assault, attempted murder of her father. If convicted, she could spend the rest of her life in prison. And that has to do with the fact that she was not 18 at the time of her crime. So by Missouri law, she would not have faced the death penalty as a possible one of 2 consequences. Even if she was tried as an adult, her age saved her from lethal injection. Authorities and investigators said Bird and her 21-year-old boyfriend, Chad R. Brantley, conspired to kill Bird's parents in their home south of Somersville on Highway 17 in January of 2006. Her mother, Christina Bird, was killed in the shooting, and her father, William Buddy Bird, was seriously wounded. Brantley, court records show, is set for a jury trial in Phelps County. Jury selection will occur beginning October 23rd in Pulaski County. He is charged with first-degree murder, and he could face the death penalty. Bird, who was 16 at the time of the crime, was certified as an adult and faces a maximum penalty of life in prison. Missouri statute for first-degree premeditated homicide is divided by if you were above the age of 18, being the perpetrator, or below. If you were above the age of 18, it's either life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. If you were under the age of 18, it's life in prison without parole. Now, the article continues. Bird was reportedly in her parents' home the night of the shooting and made the 911 call for help. Authorities quickly discovered conflicting stories from Amelia Bird, who alleged that a man wearing a hooded coat and a baseball cap shot her parents, and Brantley. They said the pair planned the shooting and that Brantley was standing at the sliding glass door of the home when Bird made the call to 911 for help. Both were arrested the very next following day. Her mother, Christina Bird, died at the scene. William Buddy Bird was taken to a Springfield hospital where he eventually recovered. And miraculously, he is alive and remarried today. However, this is the person that Gypsy Rose Blanchard advocates for. One who is guilty, just like she is. But even being 16 years old at the commission of her crime wasn't enough to get her the sweetheart plea deal that Gypsy was able to get. And that is because Gypsy's public defender, Mike Stanfield, was able to broker her a sweetheart plea deal for a lesser crime than that of which she truly did by utilizing photographs of Gypsy sitting in a wheelchair, her medical records, and his personal relationship with Dan Patterson. That Gypsy Rose agenda was in effect the last 10 years. It is not new. They made her a celebrity. And in exchange for brokering all of the deals, the book deals, the documentaries, the docuseries, the reality shows, the interviews, the episodes about her on true crime series, all Gypsy Rose Blanchard has to do is sit in front of a camera, smile, and act like she's a changed person. All while she simultaneously still pushes that same exact story that was her defense strategy to save her ass from death. But many people argue that's the least that she deserves. Because now that same infamy and that same celebrity status that she wanted to have so bad is the same thing that's going to do her in. And the reason why she participates is because she gets paid thousands and thousands of dollars. Mike gets his cut, Melissa gets her cut, Michelle gets her cut, Gypsy gets her cut. They work together to still push this false narrative and lie of a story, an abuse story, so egregious the world doesn't believe it. Because to the very foundation of it, it's not true. And because Mike Stanfield saved her from facing the death penalty and spending the rest of her life in prison, she owes everything to that man. That's why she continuously smiles for the cameras and makes them all money too. And if you don't believe it, look at this private post on her private Facebook from last year. Eventually, the cameras and the fans and the haters alike will disappear when everyone has had their bite of the pie. What is left is a woman with trust issues, low self-esteem, and emotional baggage that the prying eyes of the public will never see. I leave my most vulnerable self to the ones I cannot hide from, the ones who see my struggles when I wipe my tears, pat my makeup under my eyes, and put on a smile as fake as the smiles reflected back at me. You are so inspiring, and we want what's best for you, I'm told by journalists and producers. Their voices clash with the agenda. The mask is on. Smile. If it was the truth, she wouldn't have to wear a mask. And who's getting a piece of that pie? Melissa G. Moore, Michelle, Mike Stanfield, Gypsy Rose. But now 1980s millennial commentates and Into the Weeds podcast have been reading all of her emails. This is certainly not somebody who has low self-esteem, emotional baggage, and anything other than controlling, manipulative, sociopathic, psychopathic behaviors, tendencies, and a conceit, condescending nature that would be enough to fill 100 men. So why doesn't she get off of TV, get off of social media, and live that quiet life that she always wanted? Because she can't. She owes everything, including her life and freedom, to Mike Stanfield. Those journalists and producers and those cameras are there because he put them there, because he gets a cut of all of the money, acting as Gypsy's infamous manager. But the decision ultimately comes down to her, and she's the one who decided to sign all the contracts. She's the one that lets the cameras around her baby and decided to exploit all of it. Herself, her family, and her own child. And everybody not only helps her, they encourage and enable her still. Why? Because if Gypsy is making some kind of money, then she's not Rod and Christy's problem. And Ken, you know he's grifting off of her for the fame and the money. So the people using Gypsy the most are the people that are closest to her. They are the ones seeing her struggle and watching her wipe her tears and pat her makeup under her eyes and still telling her to smile for the camera. It's not society. It's not content creators. It's not the public telling her to do that. Her own friends and family and her own manager is the one that's handing her the ink pen and telling her where to sign. Right there, X on the dotted line. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for watching. Please like and share if you liked my video. Please don't forget to smash the subscribe button. I'll see you all on the flip side.